Well, it's been several months. It's towards the end of the year here, and it's time for another interview because it's time for another Sessions album. I'm joined right now once more by Toa Dunn. If you missed our first interview, we had Broden joining us, and now he seems to be collabing with them. So I need to ask about that. Of course, this coverage is brought to you by Alienware. So, Toa, why don't you let us know what's happening? What are you guys releasing?
Yeah, so we're releasing basically our second drop for Sessions, and this time, the first one being about Vi and kind of a certain aesthetic of a kind of a more like apartment and how she kind of decompresses from the day. Sessions 2 is kind of driven behind kind of the aesthetic of Diana, right? So very nature and cosmic. More blues and purples and things like that. And so it's really about kind of like the night sky being this canvas and us following this journey of kind of her mind and what's going on in kind of a like the young mind maybe of a Diana. Again, this is not canon at all. We kind of take some creative liberties here just to explore kind of what if and what would it be like, and it's just another expression and perspective or point of view on like music and kind of our world. And so this one, really excited about it. It's 43 tracks, so a bit more here, and a little bit more storytelling as well.
When you say a little bit more storytelling, can you explain a little bit about what that means in the music sense? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, from a sense of like the first one being, a little bit more of a static image or some static images, and then some, additional animation, which I think is, pretty typical, maybe not always for kind of this genre or vibe of music, right? I think we got inspired by kind of how that one really resonated with people. And for us, music and storytelling really just go hand in hand. And so we wanted to kind of go on this journey, so to speak, and we wanted people to feel immersed and be along the journey. And so that's led us into, even the kind of audio visual that's on YouTube for this. It's not imagery, it's an actual journey, right? And you
oh,
get
okay.
to, there's kind of a beginning and then there's an end and you end up somewhere. So, yeah, it's really us just exploring creativity, right? In music and visuals and this thing called Sessions.
So I do want to take a step back really quickly because obviously a lot of people might be familiar with Sessions already from the Vi stuff, but there might be some people who didn't see the first interview, didn't catch the first drop that you guys did. What are your main goals with Sessions? And then maybe you can talk to me a little bit about how, like, I don't know if they've evolved at all or any of the lessons or learnings you had from the Vi album before you went to Diana.
Yeah, well, a big part of this is we really want to kind of double down on our mission to help, serve the content community, right? We just know as far as music plays an integral part for many people for their content, right? Whether it's while you play TFT or Wild Rift and you listen to it while streaming, or if you just want to focus and do work or whatever the music has, and it's more that laid back experience. And so a lot of people, it's focus music or it's lo-fi specifically. And so we wanted to kind of go in that route and explore and create a catalog of music that people could, listen to, but also not have to worry about like, oh, if I'm playing this music while playing my game while streaming, will I get those, copyright claims and things like that. So this is meant to be, copyright claim free for you. So on Twitch and YouTube as you use it. And then also we just kind of want to also, broaden our horizons as far as what we do with music. We just love music, and this allows us to collaborate with some very talented artists and producers as well to kind of explore, what we can do with music and add to storytelling and whatnot. So our goals are really about, it's really focused on kind of our fan base, our players, and especially the ones that create content specifically. And then, we want to continue to push the envelope of what we do, right? We want to find new ways to kind of lean into music and potentially present an entirely new kind of tone and aesthetic to what we do as well.
That's awesome. While we're on the topic of the content safe stuff, I do want to just ask you really quickly because at the day that we're recording this, I saw an alert go out that like one of the songs on the Vi album, I guess, was starting to accidentally flag stuff. So obviously, I know the intent that you guys are going into with this stuff, and I saw that you guys said that you're working on it. But what do you guys do on the back end to just ensure that content creators are safe from having any issues?
Yeah, so it's a pretty complex system, right? So there's so many different platforms, and they have different kind of tech or ways of trying to identify songs. And so what we found out is sometimes some of these kind of, we'll just call them like sniffers, so to speak, right? They'll sniff one of our songs, and but it will sound very similar potentially, or have some similarities enough to where it is flagged, right? And so this may not be on every platform, right? This may be a specific platform, and some platforms will find. So it's just something that's almost out of our control, but we kind of are again trying to do our best here to like, okay, how do we protect our players, our content creators? How can we identify the problem? So for this specific reason, right, we said, hey, this one's some reason creating some flags. Let's at least pull this so people know that, hey, you can continue using all the music that is there until we can find the right solutions, because we're continuously like trying to work with platforms, trying to figure out, and it's sometimes it's just kind of beyond the current capabilities of things. And so this is us learning too and figuring out, we'll try to adapt it as we can, but we understand the importance of this for our content creators.
So with going back to the Diana album specifically, how did you guys approach this differently, if you did at all? Because I know you said that just like from a journey storytelling perspective, from kind of just the overall vibe, I guess it's different than the Vi stuff. But I don't know if even just going into the creation of it, you had any learnings or any ways where you were like, this is what we want specifically to be different. This is how we want to differentiate these drops from each other.
Yeah, it's a continuous learning process for us. So in the beginning, when we know we want it to be a little bit different, but it's kind of how different, and like you said, what should be different, right? We ask ourselves. So we don't have a very specific path, but we kind of looked and see like, what did our players, what did content creators, what did they like, right? Like, what was great about it? I think overall it was kind of more could be better, actually. We didn't know if we had was the first catalog too big or was it too small. But I think just the response was everyone was kind of waiting for more. Even some of the content or the artists and producers we worked with, there were more who were interested, who wanted to work with us as well. But yeah, and so we know we want to continue to grow kind of what we're doing. And so this time it really led into, all right, so if it's Diana from a creative perspective, what can we do to grow it more? And kind of organically landed here, where it's like telling the story the way it was, and a lot of it is like, what are we inspired to do as we figure it out? Like, oh, this really cool kind of natural and cosmic world, and if we really want to see more of it, and you just find yourself walking down that line and kind of figuring out what you want to do. So it's
it's really cool. Yeah, no, for me, I think it's very awesome to see what you guys have been able to do. Quick question on that is just like, why Diana? Because the Vi stuff, I thought, oh, this works out so well, especially once Arcane hit. It's like you can like lean into the vibe of Arcane by listening to Vi. But with Diana, I don't know. I'm not trying to sneak anything out of you or anything like that, but it's just, I'm wondering if there was a strategic reason for why you guys went with her for the next set.
It's pretty much based on creativity. I mean, there's a few different kind of choice factors here for us, I think, in it, right? And so a lot of it is creative. It's like, what are we inspired to do? Like, we have a few ideas that we'd like to really go down the road, but when it comes down to it, is at the time we're going to make this decision, what just really resonates with us? What's the one we're really excited to do? And that's really been our main push. So there isn't like a skin right now for specifically that it's attached to. There isn't kind of like those type of strategic reasons. We're really kind of exploring and finding out what the space is going to look like. Like, there could be in the future, products or cool things attached to this, but we'll probably get there. But I think for now, we just kind of want to go with where our creativity pulls us.
I know you had also mentioned that there was a lot of demand from folks for more of this. For me personally, like, I have really enjoyed using the Vi album as just like the intro to all of my streams. It's just like, I'll have Spotify open and it's like, well, what can I play right now while I'm getting ready and the stream's going, to just like have something playing, and I immediately go there. But I also have done that so much now that I'm like, I need something else. So clearly, I'm thrilled about the Diana stuff. I was curious what the reception was like and how you guys felt about it, because I will say, I did that interview with you, the music came out, and I do kind of feel like it slipped under the radar a little bit. Like, the people who knew about it loved it, but it did not, I think, get as much attention as I thought and hoped that it would. So I don't know how satisfied you guys were with the first drop, if there were lessons there around when or how to release this stuff, and if there was any concerns about going on to another drop like this.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely were some learnings, but I think overall we were pretty happy with how the first one dropped. And the reason is, we do quite a wide spectrum of kind of say scope of projects, right? When you think of, the world's anthem and the 100 plus million people that are going to hear this song on stage or performed, right, as well as the big music video that is pumped out at the time of we're talking, right? There's just a lot of kind of space that we take up with that, right? Versus something like this where it's a little bit more organic. And so I think the expectation there is it's going to be organic the way we grow. But I think it's kind of that's what's right for this, right? We didn't, again, we're not attaching a whole, at least not right now, a whole lot of product next to it to shout out about. It's really like we want to find out what this thing is. Like, what is Sessions? Come on this journey. Let's continue to learn. Let's work with content creators. Let's work with other creatives and artists and producers, visual artists. Like, let's understand what this space is because it's a little bit unique, and it's really oriented for them, right? And I think that's also why it's very special.
On that topic of working with, because I know that these are basically collabs that you're doing with a bunch of different artists. Are all the artists from the first one coming back? Are you working with entirely different ones? Like, how are you managing the group of people that you work with? Because I know you said you had extra tracks now or more tracks, so I don't know if that's just you guys bringing on more folks or how that works.
Yeah, it's a combination of both. We've got some artists actually returning, as well as we've got some additional new ones that are coming on for the first time. Some of them for whatever reason we couldn't work with for the first time, or just this aesthetic and this direction really fit. And so I think it's just great that we're able to kind of grow the catalog. It actually surprised me on how much we're able to grow it already on just the second one. But again, it's more music for folks like you, so you have more music to pluck from and use for your intros, which is awesome. Quite frankly, it's actually super cool to hear that like Travis is actually using our music for his streams and stuff. So that's actually great.
We use it on we have a series called Run It where we do like stats breakdowns of a bunch of player stuff, and we always need music for that. And so whenever the Vi album dropped, we immediately used it for a bunch of that as well. So it's been really cool to be able to have this stuff and feel both like it's great music that is not overpowering. Like sometimes you just need something in the background. Obviously, you're not going to put like Legends Never Die into the back of that, But I think this works really well. And I guess that brings me to my last question, which is how, like, what will the vibes be like for this in terms of, I kind of want to just help manage people's expectations because I know the first one, it did feel kind of pilt over. It felt like there's like some, stuff happening in the background or whatever. I don't know if this will feel more like ethereal, like fantasy book, or what should people expect?
Yeah, it definitely is a little bit closer in that direction. I mean, I think we've used words like dreamscape, nocturnal, cosmic, but with nature, as well as just overall kind of surreal to an extent. So yeah, it's a little bit on the other side of the spectrum compared to what Vi was, and maybe a little bit in I think blues, tones of blues and purples to an extent with some like more highlighted colors. But yeah, it's also meant to be interpreted, right, to an extent. Like you don't want to tell everybody like this is what it is. It's what does this music mean to you, and what does it feel like as you kind of go through it as well. So we try to leave some room for the imagination because that's actually a big part of this too.
I guess my real last question here is just about something I saw on Twitter because, as I mentioned at the start of this, our first interview, I tagged Broden in so he could ask you a little bit more about the music side and what you guys were trying to accomplish there. Today I saw him tweet out a photo shoot of that was, I guess, linked to this project, or maybe he was teasing it, I'm not sure. So are you guys doing collabs with other creators? What's happening on that front besides the music stuff?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's how we kind of look at it. Is it's really working with the creator community in this, and so there are some photo shoots that went out, which is kind of tying in the thematic of again this Diana and this nocturnal and nature cosmic kind of thematic, and basically having a photo shoot with that aesthetic in kind of a dreamy like, yeah, I almost don't know how to like fully describe it, but there's also some added illustrations, and it's again, us working with the community, we thought it would be fun for them to kind of explore and do a photo shoot. It just adds to the overall experience. And we're going to have some, some other kind of cool activities that's going to go on through this campaign as well that add to just, we don't want to think of it as here's music and that is it. It's, again, a little bit of storytelling. It's kind of a journey. It's a bit of a moment for us all. So.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I can't wait to listen to the sessions and have that drop available as I'm starting up streams. As much as I've loved the Vi stuff, I'm ready for more. So it's great to hear this, and I really appreciate it. Anything you want to mention really quickly before we say goodbye?
Not really. Sorry.
You're
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, again, thank you so much for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things League of Legends right here on my YouTube channel. Happy holidays, everyone. I just want to say thank you so much for watching that video. I hope it was the gift under your tree that you were looking for. And if you're looking for something that's too big to put in a stocking, you should look at alienware.com/Travis and some of the sick hardware that they've got going on there. It's the time to be maybe giving yourself a gift, maybe getting somebody else a gift. And you can use the discount code in the description to save money on that gift. So thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring this video.